it basically just allows me to see what it would be like to actually write like some kind of historical, like just record anything that happens in history. So, okay, so right now I'm recording you, and if you feel like distressed throughout the interview, like you don't want to answer that question, just tell me.
Okay.
That's fine. All right. So first, what was your path to the academy?
I was working at Anderson University as the director of counseling there,
Hmm.
and the person that they had hired for kind of the position that I'm in now was also from Anderson University. They hired three people before the school ever opened. One was Jim Green, who was kind of setting it all up a year ahead of time. Then they hired someone in charge of admissions, and then they also hired someone that was in charge of the residential aspect. And Judy, who had worked at Anderson University, came over here, and they were looking for a guidance counselor therapist kind of person.
Hmm.
And she knew about me from working at Anderson, so she called and asked me to come and interview. So I came and interviewed. I interviewed in July. The school was supposed to open in August. I interviewed in June. And the position originally that they had for the school was college counselor, guidance counselor, and therapist and scheduler. So it would have been Nikki's job, Jim's job, Brandy's job, Mike McClure's job, and Kim Hall's job. It was kind of all one. And that's how I got here.
Really? So you're here from the inception of the academy?
Correct.
Okay. Which aspects of the work at the academy have had the greatest meaning for you?
Say that again.
What parts of working at the academy have had the greatest meaning to you?
What part of the
Like what part of the job?
what
Like,
kind of job has had the most meaning to me?
yeah, is it like interactions?
Well, I would say that from the very beginning, we brought in the first class, and it was a brand new school. It was experimental.
Yeah.
And the first group of kids that came in, they had no idea, I don't think, what to expect. We didn't even know what to expect. All the forms and everything that we have now and all the processes, none of that was in place.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got here, my job was to fix all of the schedules that they had attempted to make.
Mm-hmm.
And my office at the time was over on the boys' side. You know where the lounge is, over on the boys' side where the handicap accessible room is, and we use it for a lounge.
Yeah.
My office was in the room next. That whole row over there was offices.
Oh, really?
At the time. And that was where the kind of administrative offices were.
Mm-hmm.
And then teachers' offices were up on the second floor where the girls are, right above us.
Mm-hmm.
So the kids were phenomenal. They would come and literally sit outside my office on the floor, and at times there were 50 kids sitting there just waiting to have their schedule fixed. And I was the only person fixing the schedule.
Uh-huh.
Their attitude, their willingness to be patient. They also were very good about taking care of each other and also taking care of all of us because they knew that it was kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But they were a phenomenal group of kids. And so I would have to say not only then, but now, absolutely the best aspect of this job is the kids, meeting the kids, because I've met truly the most incredible human beings that I've ever met in my life from the students that have come through the school.
Cool. What do you wish you had known about the academy before you began your work here? Like, is there something about the job that just you didn't think would happen, but it did?
Well, I have to say that when my job at Anderson was very comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I was counseling full time. They liked me over there a lot. I just won Outstanding Employee of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
So coming here was really scary. Leaving something that was very comfortable, very known, to something that was completely unknown. So I guess I would like to say that I wish I would have known how crazy it was going to be in the first year and all the emotion that came with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it would have changed my mind about anything. As far as surprises, the biggest surprise I think was the emotional stress and toil that the kids went through the first year. The teachers were trying to learn how much work to give, how much they could put on them, and at the time there was no limit on the number of courses that the kids could take.
Mm-hmm.
So we had some kids that were taking 9, 10, 11 courses. And we also didn't have anything in place like the retention and dismissal committee.
Mm-hmm.
So kids were just kind of left to, if they failed, they failed. Stay as long as you can handle it and then get out.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest surprises, maybe if I could go back in time, what I wish I would have known is that the finances would change so much from the first, 22 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had a lot of money at the beginning, and we could buy about anything we needed to buy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really changed. So if I could have had a magic wand to look forward,
Mm-hmm.
probably would have done a lot more talking to a lot more people at the beginning about what are we going to do in 2012, when the budget keeps getting cut. I can't think of anything else. Every day has been a kind of a surprise and unique because it's never the same. Anybody that walks in the door always seems to have a unique issue.
Mm-hmm.
The different staff that I get to work with, the student life counselors, has been phenomenal. Probably the thing that we didn't know in the beginning that we should have known was that we needed a lot more people doing the jobs than we thought. And
Yeah.
the other big mistake that the creators of the school made, when I told you that I was kind of like 5 people,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't expect our kids to have any issues. I think people assumed that the children that came here were going to be middle to upper class, mom and dad, 2.5 kids, healthy, wealthy, and everything good to go. And people used to label them with, kids born with a silver spoon in their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so wrong, as you know.
Yeah.
And that was probably the biggest surprise, was the people that created the school had a certain idea of who these kids would be, and it was kind of a stereotypical image, which proved to be, thank goodness, very wrong.
Going back to, wow, it just slipped my mind. I'll come back to it again. How does the social dynamic of the academy workplace compare to that of your previous workplace at Anderson?
Anderson College is a pretty conservative Christian liberal arts school.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some expectations of the students and the staff to be a certain kind of person. They intentionally, I think, hire committed Christian people to work there, and expect you to follow the rules set out in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't a great acceptance of diversity there, and Christian and Anderson University is a really good school.
Mm-hmm.
But if kids were struggling with something that was anti-Christian or didn't necessarily follow those laws, it really put them in a tailspin.
Yeah.
If a child was dealing with their sexuality, for
Mm-hmm.
example, they had to be concerned about being thrown out of the school, not being able to have a significant other. It was a lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And in those kind of environments, people have a tendency to judge people that don't necessarily live the way that they want them to live.
Mm-hmm.
Coming to the academy is an incredibly refreshing, open, we're not going to judge you. You have a right to be who you are and think who you are, and you're not judged on a Bible or any other religious book.
Mm-hmm.
If we have 35 different religions here, that's okay. So the openness, the freedom, people being not only tolerant but very accepting and loving and grateful for differences in people, makes this place who it is. The diversity of beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
and people can have those kind of discussions. You can be a Christian and I can be a non-Christian, and we can have a dialogue about that, and you can be very fervent in your beliefs and I can in mine, and we can still walk away and go have a cup of coffee and be friends.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to change you into the way that I'm trying to think. That's the difference.
Cool. All right. How do you think you have worked? Wow. Okay. How do you think having worked at the academy will affect your future, or do you like hope this will like be your last job?
Um, it affects my future every day. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that is for sure. This job has caused me to grow 1,000-fold from where I was before. Um, will it affect my future? You know, I truly believe that I will do this job as long as I feel like I'm effective in this job and I'm good at this job.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if if another opportunity came along that would challenge me to go above and beyond what I'm doing now,
Mm-hmm.
I would certainly look at it. Although I think it would be very hard to leave the academy because I feel like it's a part of me, a part of who I am. It's my family,
Mm-hmm.
the people that I work with. I love the people that I work with. I love the kids. Um, I would certainly hope that I could do this job effectively until I'm ready to not work anymore. But at the same point, I love challenges. So, you know, if somebody called me and said, "Yeah, we're starting a school just like this, and we want you to come and be the person that starts that school,"
Mm-hmm.
and it's someplace that I felt comfortable living, I'd probably love to start another school.
Um, how has the social life, like your personal life, been affected by this academy?
Um, well, the people that are my best friends, the people that I love and trust the most in the whole world are people that have or do work here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good job. I've been able to have some of my personal dreams come true because I was able to buy this little farm that I live on and go home to that every day. And probably never would have been able to do that had I not come to the academy.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten to know a lot of people that work at Ball State simply because I work here. A lot of great people. So I've really stretched my social circle.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, instead of it being like this, it's kind of never ending because you're always meeting new people and and having the opportunity to talk to anybody from, you know, Jason that works in our building that is so knowledgeable of everything that he does to, you know, the president of the university who wants to talk to you, and the ex-presidents of universities that we were able to, you know, sit down with Dr. Worthen last year when he came to our graduation and have a conversation with him and know him. And then every time that you connect with a person, you're connected to the people that they're kind of connected to, and so you get to know them. I've met some amazing folks, the parents of the kids. Some of the relationships that I have with them are cool. I mean, meeting your dad, you know, it's pretty cool. He's a great guy, and I never would have known anything about building little generators, you know, that do amazing things had I not been here and met him and met you.
All right. I think I've remembered what question I was going to ask you now. It was about the funding for the academy. How's that affected your job with it being restricted?
It's caused us to be a lot more frugal, and as far as the student life side, and you know, I'm in charge of student life, admissions, nursing, alumni affairs. We've changed some things in all areas because of the budget. The student life counselors have had to learn to do more programs with a lot less money. Some of the things that we used to do, like for example during orientation for the new parents, it used to be huge. Actually, we bussed parents out to my farm. We had a big cookout. We rented porta pots. We showed movies. We did a bus tour. We had huge tents set up, and obviously that's really changed. It used to be an overnight, and now it's not an overnight. And most all of that is based on finances. Joe Turner used to go every year to recruit for student life counselors, and we don't do that. Admissions doesn't travel anymore. We used to travel all the time to go to different schools, and some of that's finances, some of that is that schools just don't want us coming and taking their kids.
Yeah.
And then the other aspect that's changed is that Aaron Lake, who we didn't used to have a development office, and now we have created a part-time, I mean, he does two things, alumni affair and development, to try to raise money. because it's not only affected our school in being more frugal, but it has affected you guys because it used to be free. You know, you didn't have to pay for anything but renting books. And every 2 years now, we're raising the cost of what the kids have to pay, which has affected who can come to the school. Because even though we have kids that qualify for free lunch or reduced lunch, there's still a fee for some of those kids. And even though the free kids come for a pretty minimal amount and the reduced kids come for, you know, a reduced amount, it's still, as a family, they've got to decide, can we afford to drive 4 hours one way to pick up our child or not? Financially, what's it going to do to us? So it's changed some people's jobs. It's definitely changed a little bit of the attitude and the dynamic of the student body. There's a difference in attitude when kids are coming to a school for free and when they're paying for some of that. And now we have kids that are applying for financial aid because they can't afford even the part that we ask them to pay. So it's different. And, you know, I think though the economy nationwide, worldwide, is causing a lot of people to have to rethink how they're going to do things. Yeah. I'm very concerned about the economy in Indiana, period, and in the United States, because I don't see it getting a lot better in the next 2 to 3 years. And if we continue the route that we're going with more cuts being made and the cost of room and board at the, you know, Ball State, that means that we're probably going to have to raise our costs again. And there'll come a time when it will really change the dynamics and the personality of our student body. And that doesn't make me happy.
Because it might end up being that silver spoon thing that you're talking about.
Correct. And we've always been very proud of being able to bring kids in that were very bright, that had great potential, that didn't have any other out other than the academy. Because it truly, literally has changed kids' lives and saved kids' lives. And now those same kids might start feeling stuck again without an option. And it's certainly not a whole lot better back at home because of the cuts that are being made in education across the board. And I want us to continue to kind of be that beacon of, if everything's falling apart at home, there's still an opportunity. So we need to do more fundraising. We need to get more people on board to help kids that can't afford it so that finances do not limit the opportunity of anyone.
Any last thoughts that you'd like to add?
Other than I think it's really cool that you guys are doing this. I'm excited. We've talked about writing things down for a long time, and I always say I wish I would have started writing things down at the beginning, all the funny things that have happened, all the crazy things that have happened.
Yeah, what is the craziest thing that you've seen?
The craziest thing that I have seen. You don't know if I could just give you one crazy thing. There's been some pretty crazy things. We had a girl one time that saw a little hurt squirrel. It wasn't a hurt squirrel, it was a mature squirrel. And I don't know what had happened. I don't know if somebody had maybe hit it and knocked it out or something, but she decided to bring it back and bring it to her room to bring it back to health. And the squirrel woke up and was running crazy around the room and couldn't get the squirrel out. And kids do funny, goofy things. I mean, we've had, you know, I tell the story about the young man being hidden on the fence for a long time. That's not crazy. That's just
That
horrible.
was my brother's year, wasn't it?
Yes. You know, I'd have to think about that, Lee, the craziest things. Because there's been a lot of crazy, fun, goofy, you've got to be kidding me kind of things. You know, from kids being up on the roof, throwing cow eyeballs at passing people, to, you know, kids putting food on a fish hook to put it down to the kids down below them.
Yeah.
I know the kids are kids, and adults are adults. I mean, certainly kids aren't the only ones that do fun, interesting things. We've had plenty of adults that have done amazing things. So I'll have to start thinking about that and making some notes. So maybe next time we talk, I can tell you some fun stories.
All right, sounds good.
Okay.
I believe that concludes the interview, so.
Okay.